The man poured boiling water into the sink. Then he put the clay into the water. After it completely melted, he shaped the clay into a curve. Then he placed it into a prepared mold. Then he pressed down with all his strength. A fake handgun was now complete. Then the man knocked on the door and handed the gun to his partner. The robber then swaggered into the cabin. Everyone was stunned at the sight. Two other accomplices rushed out as well. The three robbers quickly took control of the passengers. They took a flight attendant hostage and forced her to reveal the air marshal's identity. To prevent harm to the passengers, the air marshal could only surrender. Under the robbers' threat, the man had no choice but to hand over his weapon. Just then a passenger suddenly fought back. He shouted for others to help, but everyone froze at the sight. No one dared to lend a hand. The fat man was beaten badly by the robbers. When he fell to the floor and stopped moving, the cabin fell silent. Then the robbers raised a banner and shouted the slogans of a terrorist group. At this time the captain noticed something was wrong in the cabin. He immediately set the transponder to 7,500. Air traffic control quickly realized the situation, but then a passenger's secret filming was discovered. To better control everyone, the robbers not only confiscated their phones, they even herded all the passengers into economy class. Then the robbers again took the flight attendant hostage, demanding the captain open the cockpit door, but they were refused. The robbers had no choice. They could only use the phone to demand the government release their leader. But to everyone's surprise, they were not the only hijackers on the plane. The man's sneaky glances seemed more like he already knew the flight attendant, and their real target was the 1.2 billion in diamonds hidden on the plane. The shipment was specially ordered from the Middle East by Minister Barada. To ensure it returned home safely, they set 3 layers of security for the diamond phone. First was a trustworthy courier. Second, they split the password into 2 parts, one held by the minister and one by the security company. Only by entering both parts could the safe be opened. Lastly was the GPS on the phone's SIM card. If someone touched the SIM card, or the shipment went off course, they would be notified immediately. And most importantly, they insured it for a huge sum. But what they never expected was that there was a mole inside their team. Nick secretly met with the minister's secretary, because if he could get the other half of the password, even if the diamonds were lost, the minister would suffer no loss, and the two of them could rise to power. It was clearly a risk-free deal, but since the phone had GPS, the best place to act was on the plane, so Nick decided to team up with his girlfriend. Although they didn't know the courier's exact identity, for safety the company required him not to eat or drink during transit, but their cleverness backfired, and it became their way to identify the target. Lisa used her flight attendant position to question each passenger until she finally found the target. Then Lisa used the same trick again, pretending to accidentally spill on the courier's clothes while collecting dishes. To avoid suspicion, the man could only go to the restroom to clean up, but just as they were about to succeed, another group of hijackers suddenly appeared. To get the diamonds, Nick pretended to have asthma. He claimed his medicine was in his bag and asked to return to his seat. The robbers only wanted to free their leader. They didn't want to kill anyone, so they agreed to let him go to business class for his medicine. But they didn't realize Nick was a top thief. He found the courier's bag and finally located the case containing the phone. But just after entering the password, he suddenly felt a chill behind him. At some point, a robber had appeared behind him. Nick calmly hid the safe and lied that the medicine wasn't here. But the asthma attack he had moments ago was suddenly gone. Seeing his cover about to be blown, Nick quickly began breathing heavily again, but there was no fooling them twice. The robber punched him in the nose. The noise alerted the others. Seeing Nick covered in blood, the robbers lost all sympathy and dragged him back. Lisa panicked at the sight and begged them to treat Nick. Meanwhile, to protect the hundreds of passengers, the government agreed to the hijackers' demands and even provided a helicopter. To stay informed, the minister sent his secretary to the scene. They quickly called to discuss hostage exchange details. Only one robber remained in the cabin now. Lisa understood the signal. She distracted the man, giving Nick another chance. He slipped back into business class and finally got the diamond-encrusted phone. Then he pulled a fake phone from his bag. After swapping the SIM card, he secretly put it back, but just as he thought he was in the clear, he ran straight into a robber.